Another radical Muslim, another mass shooting. This experiment with multiculturalism has left 3 dead, including the shooter, and numerous others wounded. Can we expect more acts of terror in the state of Texas? I think I have an answer. Welcome back to Come and Take It. Over the weekend, we all obviously woke up to the news that President Trump had bombed the bejesus out of Iran and that their supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, was dead. I heard when my husband apparently couldn't sleep and was scrolling his phone and I was sleeping and he was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, what? He's like, President Trump bombed Iran. I was like, you could have told me at 6 a.m. Would not have made a difference to me personally until 6 a.m. But I digress. However you find out over the weekend, I'm sure you heard that that was happening. Now, I want to be clear here. This was a very bad guy. Khamenei was a very bad guy with very bad intentions and a very bad track record of clear-cut human rights abuses against his own people.
The world.
Like, I'll touch on the ways that he meant harm to you as an American, but just know, even his own people, he abused them, he oppressed them, he ordered death on protesters who dared take to the streets, journalists, a woman, died after being arrested for not wearing a hijab in custody. Wonder how that happened. Like, this is a guy who has been responsible, who has been in the supervisory position while all of these horrible, horrific human rights abuses happened. So, listen, on top of that, he hated America and the rest of the West. He wanted nothing more than to dismantle or conquer it. He was just a very, very bad, evil guy. So it's a good thing that he's gone. All right? It's a good thing that he's gone. In fact, it's why the people of Iran, after this happened, were actually taking to the streets and, in some cases, explaining how they love President Trump. They were so grateful for President Trump for doing this. And I think that this is actually an important part of the conversation that we have here as we talk about Iran. Iran was not always Iran. It was not always this Muslim majority Islamic country. It was actually Persia, and then it was conquered, and it became what it is now. And I find that to be very relevant as we navigate through this one. It's always a conquest. They are always looking to conquer. It's always a takeover. That's what they do. It's like in history, they continue doing the same cycle. They come there, they take over, they conquer, and then all of a sudden, poof, you are an Islamic Muslim majority country. That is how Iran became Iran. I just think it's very relevant for the conversation that we're having literally right now. All right. So President Trump, for better or worse, decided now was the time to bomb the hell out of Iran and kill their dictator. And you can feel however you want to feel about that. Okay. You can feel however you want to feel about it. It is what it is. But in that moment that we knew that President Trump had decided to do that, it should have become abundantly clear to everyone what the situation was going to be and what was going to happen next. I mean, I was having conversations with my friends and we were like, okay, everyone stay on high alert. Keep your eyes open, carry everywhere you go, because we have a lot of people here in this country, a lot of people here in the state of Texas, here from Muslim majority countries, both illegally and legally. By the way, we talk a lot about the illegal aliens who came over specifically under Joe Biden's watch. They came over before that. There are bad people who came over before Joe Biden, but a whole lot of them came over under Joe Biden's watch. Well, don't discount the ones coming in through the legal way. Don't forget about them. Whether they are abusing the asylum system, whether they are just slipping in under the radar. I mean, listen, if this is in your mind, in your delusional mind, the way you get in to your version of heaven, with however many versions or goats or whatever the heck you guys do, in their minds, this is how they get into heaven. So they will do everything they can, including Taqiyya, which, like, they can just pretend like they do not believe in the Quran, that they do not have any allegiances to Islam when they do. That's part of their holy books, is like they can just lie and say that they don't. So there are a bunch of ways that they can do this through the legal process as well. So either way, we have imported far too many third worlders with not only third world values, but people whose religion, whose life goals are unassimilable with ours. Period. End of story. It's not just a nuance. It's not just like, but United Methodist and Global Methodist think a little bit differently about things. No, no, no. This is, we are importing a group of people whose entire goal is to conquer and dismantle Western civilization and bring Islam. Make the infidels submit or die. Those are their goals. Like it or not. You can feel how you want to feel about it. But you can't be surprised that once the United States was successful in striking Iran, we would have the first of probably many revenge attacks. There are people here in this country who, it turns out, don't actually like us very much. Don't actually, pledge allegiance to us, and are very mad about what the United States just did to Iran. So it happened. In Austin, Texas, on 6th Street, against a bunch of unsuspecting partygoers around 2 a.m. at a club called Buford's. A man opened fire, shot up a bunch of people. 2 people died, not including him. He was shot by police and died later. He's not a victim, in my opinion. 2 actual victims who were killed, who died, many others wounded. Okay? And by the way, if you were following the initial news reports like I was, once they surfaced, anyone who is paying attention, who usually pays attention to stuff like this, I'm sure was bracing themselves. You were bracing yourselves because you noticed that there was no identifiable information. We already knew kind of how it would shake out. We were like, oh, okay. This is how it usually goes. Usually when it's a white man who's doing something, they're like, white man did this. And usually when they hold off on any identifying information for a very extended amount of time, even when there are eyewitnesses and stuff like that, it's like, okay, I know what this is going to be. We know it's going to be a terrorist attack. We know it's going to involve Islam, and everyone's supposed to be like, oh, it's just an isolated case. Gee, this never happens, even though we all know that this has happened frequently. It's going to continue to happen because it's literally their entire goal. But the suspect, who was unalived by police, was wearing a sweatshirt that said "Property of Allah." By the way, still available on Amazon.com. Still available. Remember how they'll censor anything related to conservatism. They will censor anything related to, the conservative agenda if they think that they can try to make it tied to anything terroristic. Property of Allah sweatshirts, you can still find at Amazon.com. He also was wearing an undershirt representing support for Iran and had a Quran in his car. And of course, the FBI was like, feels like it fits the definition of a terrorism attack. Feels like it could be terroristy. And even after that, they still didn't explicitly confirm. I mean, we know now more since several days have transpired. But they were very, very slow, very unwilling to admit any of this, as they usually are. Now, the man goes by the name Indiaga Diagni. He was born in Senegal, a Muslim-majority country. He's 53 years old. He arrived in America on March 13th, 2000 on a B-2 tourist visa during the Clinton administration, according to a source who told the New York Post. Now, I have a big problem with these tourism visas starting to I don't think you should be able to come on a tourist visa and end with citizenship. I don't think you should do that. It's the same thing with the H-1B. And the H-1B is a non-immigrant tourist visa. The whole point is that you don't intend to stay here. A tourist visa, you don't intend to stay here. So why should we allow you to convert that into a mechanism where you can get a green card or citizenship or whatever? Shouldn't be allowed to do it, in my opinion. So this guy arrived under Bill Clinton. He became a lawful permanent resident on an IR-6 visa in June 2006. So 6 years later, he was allowed to stay here for 6 years. According to, again, this is a source familiar with his immigration history, according to the New York Post. He was able to become a lawful permanent resident on an IR-6 visa in June 2006 when he married a U.S. citizen. He then went on to lodge a string of other arrests in New York between 2008 and 2016, but still somehow was able to become a naturalized citizen on April 5th, 2013. So he comes here in 2000. He marries a citizen in 2006. By 2008, he's committing crimes. A string of arrests between 2008, just 2 years after he married a United States citizen, 2008 to 2016, a string of other arrests. Somehow, under the start of former President Barack Obama's second term, he is able to become a naturalized citizen.
How is that possible?
Now, those 3 arrests are sealed because I don't know for a fact, I guess my gut tells me if you come from another country, if you are a foreign-born national, you get protection for your crimes. We don't get to see what they are somehow because we're not allowed to know. If you're a U.S. citizen, we can just go boop, 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 and find it. Somehow these are sealed. I don't know how a foreign-born national is able to have these sealed. I don't know if it was domestic in nature, but I want to know. I want to know what in the world these arrests were. Because I have a feeling that they were not nothing. I have a feeling that they were not minor. And how does a person who is not a citizen yet go through a string of numerous arrests and end up with citizenship in 2013? I think I have a feeling I know how. Oh, Barack Obama.
Obama.
That's how. Being soft on crime, soft on criminals, soft on illegal criminals, bringing criminals into our country. By the way, he was also arrested in Texas at some point on undisclosed charges as well, according to these same sources. He was also a known emotionally disturbed person in both states, sources said. So you have a guy who should not have been here, who should not have stayed here. I don't care if you find someone who's going to marry you. You go on to commit crimes, you're not a citizen yet. Out. Boom. Out. Bye-bye. I actually don't even care if it's something as minor as like writing a hot check. If you come here, you know that you're like, this is your audition, right? If you're here on a visa, this is your audition. I don't care if it's a tourist visa, if it's an H-1B visa, whatever visa it is. I don't care. You are here on an audition. And if you want to stay, you've got to be on your best behavior. And if you are not on your best behavior before you become a naturalized United States citizen, or if that is your best behavior, if this is your audition and you've decided to commit crimes and you've decided to have a long arrest rap sheet, like, sorry, you didn't cut it. You didn't make the part. You're not Prince Charming. You're not even actually backup. You're not the understudy either. You just need to like go home. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Go back home to Senegal. Don't come back. We don't need you here. Because that's the thing. This is the takeaway, okay? This man, this is what I need for you guys to know. This man is not isolated. With the way that these mosques are popping up in the state of Texas, specifically, I mean, I could tell you in the Austin area, it's no different than the Dallas area or the Houston area or any of these other metropolitan areas. The Pflugerville area, where this guy was from, the Pflugerville area has a gigantic mosque. They've got a big Muslim population up and coming. Okay, this is not isolated. You might be asking, well, how many are we talking about, Sarah? How many potential people could we have in this country who are just like waiting around, lying in wait, waiting to strike because that is what their holy book calls them to do? Well, about 18,000 terrorists, according to the National Counterterrorism Center Director Joe Kent just a few months ago.
NCTC has been crunching the numbers and going through the sheer volume of known and suspected terrorists that are in the country that came in under the Biden administration. So far, NCTC has identified around 18,000 known and suspected terrorists that the Biden administration let come into our country. These are individuals who under normal circumstances would never be allowed to enter our country because of their ties to jihadi groups like ISIS and al-Qaeda. Yet the Biden administration not only let them into the country, and in many cases facilitated their entry into the country, just like the entry of the Afghan terrorists who committed the terrorist attack here just before Thanksgiving, killing one of our National Guard members and wounding another. That Afghan was brought into the country as a group of over 100,000 Afghans who were brought here during the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. These individuals, despite what has been reported, were not vetted properly to come into the United States. The individual terrorist who committed the attack in D.C., he was vetted to serve as a soldier in Afghanistan. The Biden administration essentially used his tactical level vetting as a ruse to bring him here and to bring him into our communities, and we've seen the tragic results of that. Now, that Afghan, that attacker, that terrorist, is just one of 88,000. We've identified 2,000 of that group of 88,000 who have ties to terrorist organizations. We're working right now, hand in hand with DHS and with the FBI, to run down this 2,000, the Afghans who came here under Allies Welcome, who have ties to terrorist organizations, and additionally, the other 16,000 individuals with ties to terrorist organizations that Biden let into our country. That is probably the top terrorist threat that we face right now, and that doesn't include the individuals who came here illegally through the open border. That number, alarmingly, remains unknown at this time. We're trying to figure out who those individuals are as well.
So, you know what? I don't actually care if it's legal or illegal immigration. Like, there's no difference to me if you came here legally or you didn't come here legally when it comes to getting you out of the country if you are in favor of Islam. It doesn't actually matter. Their intended goals are the same.
What are the important things out there in Texas politics and Texas news that matter to you, and what can you do about it? That's what we want to bring you with the Luke Macias Show on a weekly basis for 20 to 30 minutes. That way you can get the information and go do something for the rest of your week. I look forward to coming to you every Wednesday.
So we need a serious overhaul of our immigration system, beginning with a retroactive deportation agenda. I don't care if you're legally here. I don't care if you're illegally here. When it comes to believing in Islam and the tenets of Islam, it's not personal. I don't care if you've been legalized. It's not personal. I don't care if you're a naturalized citizen. It's not personal. I don't care if you've jumped through all the hoops to get your green card or whatever, next steps you've gone through. I actually don't care. Deportation should be on the table for every single person who came from a Muslim majority country. Do you know why? Because it isn't worth it to wait and see. It isn't worth it to do this little test, to do this experiment that we're doing, and just wait and see how many of them actually strike. Wait and see what happens. Wait and see which ones are peaceful and which ones are not. Why? Why? We don't need them here. We shouldn't have rubber stamped all of them being here in the first place. It was a mistake that was done under Democrat administrations. So what are we doing? If we are not willing to have that conversation about deporting any immigrant, legal or illegal, naturalized or not, from a Muslim majority country, we are not serious. Not having that conversation is national suicide. Will it hurt people's feelings? Yeah. Do I care? No. I just want to keep my country safe. Do I care about my kids and my kids' safety and my kids' prosperity more than I care about the hurt feelings of immigrants who came here and, may or may not want to kill us? Yeah, I care about my kids way more than that. It's uncomfortable to say, but it's just true. And any American who is proud to be here should agree. Any American who is proud of their country and patriotic and loves this country and doesn't want to see it surrender to Islam should agree with that. By the way, let me present to you the best example, the best case in point I could ever give you. Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, who, but I will say, I said the best example. Maybe Ilhan Omar is worse. But for this particular conversation, we'll take Rashida Tlaib because she posted on X. Okay. She posted about the situation and she said both the U.S. and genocidal Israel doesn't care about the laws. Now, first of all, grammar. Okay. That's not the right usage of grammar. I believe it would be don't. You guys let me know in the comments. Am I wrong? Both the U.S. and genocidal Israel don't care about the laws would be grammatically correct, ma'am. Hey, you're the congresswoman. I'm just a lowly podcaster. What do I know? Right? But she goes on to say, this is who they are. They. Oh. She's not just talking about Israel. She said both the U.S. and Israel don't care about the laws. This is who they are. Like, they? Really? Ma'am, you are a United States Congresswoman. You literally represent the United States. You are referring to America in the third person as if you don't represent us? As if we don't represent you? Why are you here? You could just go home.
Get out of my life! Now!
I don't understand. You, referring to the United States as if this is not your country. And by the way, you can disagree with the things that your country does and says. You can disagree with your country's foreign policy, but it is still your country. I mean, I would argue it's not her country. She doesn't think it's her country, and neither do I. But I'm saying, as a person, as an American citizen, you can disagree with your country. Absolutely. I've disagreed with my country's foreign policy, a lot. Okay? But I still call it my country. It is still mine. It's like family. You can disagree and you can fight and you can argue and you can bicker, but it's still my family. That's not how she feels. And it's especially strange to hear from a person who was technically born in Detroit. She actually was born here. Her parents are from Palestine, but she was born here. So I don't understand. If you hate it so much, just go back to where you think you belong. It's really as simple as that, but you don't need to use they to describe your own country. That's actually very reprehensible, very disgusting, and it tells us exactly who you are. Honestly, she should be expelled from Congress because you're supposed to be there to represent our interests. Clearly, she doesn't. But if we want to be a serious country, let this be a wake-up call, especially in the state of Texas where we have the mosques on the rise. We have Islam on the rise. We have these people who are passing out hijabs and Qurans and, both in, lunches, school lunchtime, and also during class time where the teachers don't even see that it's happening. I mean, there is a lot of this going on. It's not just the illegals, it's the legal ones too. This isn't an isolated incident or just like an oopsies under Obama. It was intentional, it was by design, and we need to stop it. And not doing so would be national suicide. You let me know in the comments if you agree. Am I being too harsh? You guys let me know. I know I talk about this all the time. I talk about the overtaking of Texas with radical Islam all the time. It's just that it's just happening at an accelerated rate. And I don't know what else to do other than sound the alarm and encourage you guys to put pressure on these lawmakers to put a stop to it. Yeah, I think it's great. If you guys haven't yet voted, by the way, make sure that you go vote. If you're watching this as of the time that it's actually being released, you've got 7 hours to vote here or there. So make sure that you go vote. Today's the last day, and vote for Prop 10 on the Republican primary ballot that says, ban Sharia law, but that's not really going to do much unless the lawmakers actually do something. Bubbling in that is not actually going to ban Sharia law. That's just telling lawmakers what you want them to do. And then it's going to be up to us to put pressure on them to actually do it. So, by the way, my final note to you, carry everywhere. Don't go anywhere that you can't carry. Carry everywhere. Stay vigilant. Keep your eyes open and pray. Thank you for joining me. That's it for us. We'll see you next time on Come and Take It.